start off by taking the tripod out of the bag and we'll take a look at the bag itself. Set that down for a second. So a cheap bag is going to have cheap zippers and vice versa, and so I think this setup right here is actually very high quality. It speaks to the nature of the tripod itself. The zippers are really nice, and it tells me that they put a lot of time and thought into the production of this, and that's why I want to take a second to talk about literally the bag that the tripod comes in. The engineers have not underthought this. They have not missed anything. I think the quality that went into the bag is the same that goes into the tripod, and I'm very happy about that. They made this something I want to use. Normally with bags, they're really cheap and they're not that high quality and I just toss them, but this one is really nice and it makes me want to use it more. I'm going to start off with the inside and then we'll go to the outside. So inside the bag, there's actually a nice amount of padding and a really cool texture. It's a really neat texture inside of it. It's like an expensive liner that I've seen on maybe some other bags that are for you know, like everyday carry or something of that nature, and it's inside this one. I really like that. There is a single pocket, and that's a good place to put your carry strap or anything that's a little bit longer like that, maybe some extra batteries or something if you have some of those. This right here is just a piece of Velcro that retains it, and so I usually carry a strap in there most of the time. On the exterior of the bag, there's another pocket, and in there right now I do have that carry strap, and it has two eyelets on it that can move independently and clip on. They're polymer with metal clips. There is inside a bowl. If you wanted to add a bowl, you could add a bowl to your tripod instead for the head. That's useful, very useful actually. It's impressive that it comes with that at the price point. There are some metal feet, and the metal feet or spiked feet, these I'm finding I actually like more and more. I'll probably switch out the rubber feet because I find that everything, as far as surfaces, everything that I use a tripod for is usually dirt and rarely concrete. I don't like these on concrete. I do like the rubber feet on concrete, but when I'm using tripods, it's out in dirt, rocky areas, grassy areas, and so these are great and they're easy to clean off, easy to switch in and out. They are threaded, as you can tell. It's really nice that it comes with that, by the way. There's a pretty good user manual. Again, I'll just say to the engineers, thank you for producing something that is usable and very functional. Not everybody knows how to use these tripods or all the features, and this somebody put some time into. Go ahead and look at that if you're new to tripods. And then of course, there are a few features, like there's an ability to use either a 3/8 or 1/4 inch thread-in portion on the tripod. And it comes with some spare parts, and so right in here I've actually thrown in a 3/8 adapter down to a 1/4 inch because I like to add accessories or a magic hand from SUNWAYFOTO, and so there's some of that stuff in here, as well as the tools that you're going to need to get your tripod set up the way you like it, and a little bit of branding on a SUNWAYFOTO lens cloth, just something really nice that they throw in on top of that. Inside of that pocket there is organization, and so you can go ahead and organize things the way that you think they ought to be. A few different pockets in here that are separated in there like that, and so you could organize some batteries or smaller components, something for your camera perhaps. Moving to the other end, there is a piece here for maybe throwing it on a sack, a rucksack, or attaching it to a gear bag of some sort, and you can ratchet it down. You can also tighten up the bag, although the tripod itself fits perfectly inside the bag. It's not a big frumpy bag. It's not so tight that it's hard to fit in there. Even with this EB-52, I'm running an EB-52 ball head on here, which is a very large, serious ball head, and it fits perfectly in here. Not too loose, not too tight. There's enough space in here where I could throw in a little bit more width on these extra pockets. I could put some stuff in there, and I think all these straps and buckles, as well as the sewing and stitching, is strong enough that it can hold some extra serious weight, quite a bit more than what you're going to get from just this, which is not terribly heavy. There's a carry handle on the outside. I feel strong that it's tough. It's something you won't see threads coming loose on. It's been stitched in many cross patterns, and so they've taken some time to do that. There are eyelets on the end of the bag, and if I can show you this, there's another hook and another eyelet, and I actually use those things when I'm going to carry a tripod out in the woods. Sometimes I will take this tripod and this bag and just attach it to the backpack or the rucksack that I have, and it's actually a little bit easier to attach it to a bag than just trying to throw this on the outside. Sometimes the straps on backpacks do loosen up in your ruck as your load settles, and so it's nice to have something like this with just a little bit of extra retention, keeps it nice and tight to my pack. Before I get to the tripod conversation, I actually want to talk to you about the ball head. So this is the EB-52 ball head. This is not an average run-of-the-mill ball head. This is a serious ball head that can hold 55 pounds. That's the upper tier weight rating for this. 55 pounds, I have tried it out with over 55 pounds and it holds it just fine. Both the clamp itself, which is on a dial like that, back and forth. And of course, the ball head itself does not move when it's locked down. This thing does not move at all. And I've tried really hard. It's nice and firm. And then you also have a pan lockout, and so if you wanted to lock down the pan so that it can't move back and forth, this works really, really well, especially in collaboration with this tripod, I think. Another feature on that pan lockout is the dial itself, which you can move back and forth for loosen or tighten. That itself can be lifted. It's on a spring. You can lift it and position it the way you want to so it doesn't run into things. That's something I thought was just really good foresight in the way that people actually use products. This right here is a good idea. So it comes in this nice little bag right here, a couple accessories with it. I'll be talking about this while I'm talking about the tripod. I do want to focus on the tripod, but what sits on top of the tripod matters a lot. You can't put a junky head on top of a high quality tripod. You've got to have a really high quality ball head on top of a high quality tripod. At least that's the way my mind works. I can't put a lower quality component on a high quality component. It just doesn't make sense. And so especially when I'm throwing on rifles that are very expensive glass on top of it, I need to be able to trust this. And I'm gonna tell you, these two together, I definitely trust. It's worth noting on the EB-52 ball head, this thing is glass. When I throw something in there and go back and forth, it is so smooth. It feels like it's on liquid. It's just so smooth back and forth. And the base isn't trying to rotate out and loosen up. It's just super smooth. And the second that I want it to stop, I can just take this clamp right here. You can move that around, like I said before, but with the spring by pulling it out and resetting the position. And then I can just tighten it down. And now it doesn't move. It is locked down really firm. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. You could put all your effort into it and it's not going anywhere. I think it's actually a really strong head. It's a good design. I'll go ahead and loosen it up and it's back to glass, just like that. Now, if you want to remove the ball head, what you're gonna do is tighten that down, and then you're gonna need to put a little bit of pressure into it and twist the ball head off, like that. You don't want that coming off too easy. It would frustrate you, especially if you're locking it down and moving the tripod around. You don't want it to just loosen off every time you're moving something. So the addition of this friction bar right here with the tab that can be pulled out and repositioned, this is necessary. And when you're coming to the price points that you're at right here, this is the really high quality stuff. This is competing with stuff that is twice the price. These kind of features are necessary and very much appreciated in my opinion. So let's say I'm using this with my little micro monocular here. This is the Bushnell 10X with a reticle. I have a video on that if you want to go ahead and check that out. But I really like pairing these together. And the knurling on the dial here is easy to index and grab a hold of and just make quick adjustments. Throw in an ARCA device of some sort. I'm using a SUNWAYFOTO plate, an ARCA plate adapter for the Bushnell. I'm really glad that this has a 1/4-inch jack on it, so I can throw a SUNWAYFOTO adapter on there and throw it into any of my ARCA gear very quickly. It's just a lot smoother than trying to run a 1/4-inch each time and thread something in. I prefer using these quick plates, and this mount itself right here is a nice system to use when I'm glassing for something or just watching something. And this head does move around. Of course, you can move it around if you're throwing a rifle or a camera in there. You can move this head around and get it angled just right. If you have a level on top of your device as well, that might be something useful for you. But this does have a level itself on the head of the clamp. There is a level over here. You could also use that for whatever you're doing. If you need to level out your camera especially, that could be useful. But yep, this will move back and forth just like that, and then you can lock it down, and now it's not going anywhere. The whole thing, if I tighten down each component, now all of this, I'm giving it some serious effort, guys. Yeah, it's really tight, it's locked down firm. That's the confidence I need when I'm putting a rifle in it especially. So I didn't want to insult anybody's intelligence by going over the bag and the ball head, but I just wanted to show you some of the other features that we're not going to be talking about a whole lot more in the part 2 review, where I talk more exclusively about the tripod itself. That is kind of the more expensive unit out of all this, although I will reiterate something I said before. The ball head is almost as important as the tripod, or maybe even more important, because it's what's actually holding your rifle or your camera, your spotting glass, whatever it is. And if you have a poor quality ball head on top of a good tripod, it's still going to ruin your experience. And so I'm very happy to have an EB-52. As you can see, I've thrown some expensive rifles on there, had really good experiences, very stable in shooting. You'll see more of that in the follow-up to this in part 2, but I'm not going to talk quite as much about the ball head or some of the other components. I'm going to try to focus almost exclusively on that tripod, and that tripod is the T3650CM carbon fiber tripod. Very excited about that. Stick around for part 2 so you can see what I think of these pieces working together.